Hello friends, my name is RD and welcome back to my channel, Dhode Revision English. I hope you all are doing great. Today I'm going to explain a beautiful Turkish movie called Make Me Believe, which was released in 2023. The film stars Erkenci Kuş as the male lead Deniz and the stunning Ayça Ayşin Turan as the female lead Sahra. It has received a 5.7 out of 10 rating on IMDb. But trust me, the story is much more emotional than the numbers suggest. This story beautifully shows that when two hearts are meant to be together, the entire universe gently moves to make it happen. Our movie begins with Sahar, a journalist at Akbar Al-Nujum magazine. She was on her way to visit her grandmother, Aysel, at her house on the coast. During the whole trip, she kept trying to call her but couldn't reach her, which made her even more worried. She arrived at the house and realized she had forgotten her keys at the office because she had to leave quickly to go to her grandmother. She was getting anxious and desperate to get inside the house and see her. At that moment, she was seen by the grandson of her grandmother's neighbor, Samiha. He asked if she knew anything about his grandmother because he had also been trying to call her, but she wasn't answering either. He was also worried, which increased Sahar's fear. They started thinking maybe both grandmothers were inside and something had happened to them. Sahar had forgotten his name, but then remembered it was Dorek. He gave her his helmet and tried to climb the wall to enter through the window. But Sahar couldn't wait, so she threw the helmet at the door, breaking the glass. At that moment, Aysel and Samiha arrived and told them they had been at the beach and had forgotten their phones. They scolded their grandchildren, and saying they were always too busy for them and only visit when they're worried or afraid something bad has happened, making them feel like they're in their final days. Dorek refused to take back his helmet because it got scratched when Sahar threw it at the glass. His comment upset Sahar. She saw him as arrogant and stuck up. We then go to Samiha, who was happy her grandson visited. He was also surprised she lied to him and pretended to be sick, not just to make him visit. She told him the reason she did what she did was because she missed having him around, and that's what pushed her to act that way. Then we see Sahar, who didn't know what to do about her job, as she now had to spend some days with her grandmother until she made sure she was okay. From a conversation with her assistant, Ayhu, she found out that Karam, her rival at the magazine, was trying to win the favor of the manager and had promised her a powerful scoop that would make the cover of the upcoming issue. Her assistant reminded her that she had made a mistake by promising the manager an interview with the famous photographer, someone they couldn't even reach, not even his manager. They didn't know his true identity, and there were no pictures of him except for his photography displayed in his gallery. Ayhu emphasized that Sahar had to quickly find a solution if she wanted to beat Karam and get the promotion. Just then, her grandmother came out and asked her to go to their neighbor Samiha's house to deliver a dish she had just prepared. Sahar was surprised at her grandmother's insistence that she be the one to go, but it was clear from the grandmother's behavior that they were trying to bring their grandchildren closer together. Sahar did go, and of course, Samiha also asked her grandson to meet Sahar and see if she needed anything because she was busy. As soon as Sahar saw him, she surprised him by calling him by his real name, Deniz. He mocked her for finally remembering his name, and both of them clearly couldn't stand each other. Aysel and Samiha felt like they had failed in their plan to bring the two together. That night, Sahar was happy when she received a message from her friend telling her. Her friend told her that she had managed to get in touch with the agent of the famous photographer Deniz Tonali, which got Sahar very excited. This meant she could finally beat Karam, especially if she recorded an exclusive interview with him. She told her grandmother that meeting Deniz Tonali was a big opportunity for her to achieve her dream and get the promotion. She explained that all the international newspapers were talking about him because he had been offered a major award and refused to accept it. Since no one had been able to reach him or even find out who he really is, and because he rejects all interview requests from magazines, landing an interview with him would be a huge achievement. Her grandmother asked how she planned to convince him, and Sahar said she would do the impossible. because this interview could determine her entire career. The next morning, Sahar woke up to the screams of her neighbor Samiha and rushed to help her. Samiha told her that her grandson wouldn't let her climb down from the tree, so Sahar quickly climbed up to help her. Strangely, her grandmother Aysel threw the ladder away so Sahar wouldn't be able to come down alone, forcing Deniz to help her. Of course, this was all part of another scheme by the two grandmothers. They called for Deniz despite Sahar's protest about his presence. As usual, the two of them immediately started arguing. He tried to help her down, but Sahar accidentally dropped the ladder on his head, injuring him. She went down to check on him, and he furiously asked her to stay away from him because he always seems to get hurt whenever she's around. Then we move on to the next part of the grandmother's plan. Sahar's grandmother gave her a first aid kit and asked her to check on Deniz's wound and apologize. When she went to their house, Deniz had already gone up to his room and left her downstairs. On the wall, she saw a photograph of a ship sinking in the sea. It caught her attention because she recognized it very well. Samiha told her that the photo was one of her grandson's works. It was actually the very first picture he included in his first gallery exhibition. She explained that Deniz had loved photography since he was young, which is how he became a professional photographer. Sahar asked her directly, "Is your grandson Deniz Tonali?" And Samiha confirmed that yes, he really is. Sahar was about to lose her mind after searching for this man for 2 months just to land an interview with him, and whose interview held the key to her promotion. It turned out he was her childhood friend, the same boy she grew up with, and who used to drag her into everything. She immediately called her assistant Aihu and told her that the photographer they'd been desperately trying to find was actually her grandmother's neighbor. She asked her to come over quickly and that she'd send her a list of things to buy on the way. Meanwhile, Deniz was meeting with his friend and manager Kalash, and he told him what Sahar had done to him. Kalash was surprised that someone had actually managed to grab Deniz's helmet, especially since Deniz had always strictly forbidden anyone from even touching it. And now, someone had not only touched it, but also scratched it. Kalash asked him why he was so angry with Sahar, since she clearly didn't hurt him on purpose. Deniz replied that he knows her, and that he has his own personal reasons for being upset. Kalash understood what he meant, and hinted that this was why Deniz had been acting strangely. From their conversation, we understand that Sahar is someone very special to Deniz, but something had happened in the past that deeply upset him. Then we see Aihu arrive and meet Sahar. She told her she couldn't believe how Sahar hadn't recognized that photo in the gallery the moment she saw it, especially since she had kept a copy of it. The next day, Aihu told Sahar that the best way to get to Deniz was through his friend Kalash, and through him, they could find out the places Deniz usually visits. And indeed, they managed to track down a quiet cafe he often goes to. They acted surprised when they saw Kalash there, and Aihu invited him to join them, knowing that Deniz would likely show up and join them too. Sahar, Aihu, and Kalash chatted about an upcoming advertising campaign they were supposed to shoot, but Sahar hadn't yet found a suitable location for filming. Aihu suggested shooting in this very town because of its breathtaking natural landscapes. Kalash assured her that he would help, and when Deniz arrived, Kalash asked him to help Sahar and take her to see the coastline. He was sure she'd find a good spot for her campaign there. Kalash clearly intended this to be the perfect chance for the two of them to be alone, clear up their issues, and possibly reconcile. So the two went out together, but Deniz insisted that she ride with him on his motorcycle. It was obvious Sahar was scared and had a phobia of riding, but she went along anyway. He took her to the coast and began photographing her when she wasn't paying attention, and she was doing the same to him. They spent the whole day together. That evening, he took her to a seafood restaurant for dinner. He noticed that Sahar didn't know how to eat fish by herself. She asked him if he was always going to treat her this badly, but he didn't answer. She then asked if they could go to the sea park, saying it would be a calmer place where they could talk. When they arrived, she was amazed by the beauty of the place he had chosen. He told her he always preferred quiet places and loved discovering new ones. He told her he was the opposite of her in that way, He knew she always preferred being indoors rather than out in nature. They talked about their memories, and she asked him if he still loved watching the stars and making wishes. He said that yes, it was still his favorite hobby. Then he asked her if she still liked collecting rocks from places she wanted to always remember. Sahar was surprised that he still remembered that little detail about her. He told her he remembered everything about her, but she was the one who chose to forget. Sahar moved closer to him, and Denise began to let his guard down. But suddenly she pushed him into the sea and jumped in after him. He couldn't believe she was that crazy. When they got out, she was shocked to find out that the motorcycle keys had fallen from his pocket into the sea. She calmly asked him why he dropped them, but Denise didn't know how to even process her logic. He told her that, thanks to her family, they now had to walk all the way back home. On the way, he begged her to let this be the last incident she caused between them, that he'd had enough. She followed him and apologized, but he pleaded with her not to apologize again, because every time she says sorry, he ends up in a new disaster. Then he told her to just forget he even exists. The next morning, Denise was looking at the photos he had taken of her. He noticed that Kailash seemed to be interested in Sahar. He told him that the most important thing was to keep Kailash away from them. Meanwhile, we returned to the two grandmothers, who were getting worried that the relationship between Denise and Sahar might get worse over time. Still, they believed that eventually the two would realize each other's worth and confess the love they're both hiding. But they also agreed they needed a plan to speed things up. Samiha went out to the market with Deniz, and at the same time, Aysel took Sahar out as well. Aysel asked Sahar to wait for her at a cafe, and meanwhile, Samiha showed up at the same cafe with Deniz, so he would see Sahar there too. Kailash came by, greeted the girls, and asked Ayhu if she wanted to go out with him, leaving Sahar alone. Deniz noticed from a distance that two young men approached Sahar and sat with her. The guys were trying to flirt with her, but Sahar wasn't easy to deal with. She cleverly lured them out to the street and then started hitting them. Deniz saw what was happening and rushed over to help her. But, as usual with her luck, she accidentally hit him on the head. Still, the two of them managed to fight off the guys together. The police saw the incident and arrested them all. Deniz and Sahar ended up being held in custody together. Deniz blamed himself for getting involved, saying that he never gets anything good out of being around her, and that this was the first time in his life he had ever been arrested, and it was because of her. She told him that he had no one to blame but himself. She never asked for his help and was actually trying to stay away from him like he wanted. During the investigation, the two guys confessed that Aysel and Samia had hired them to bother Sahar so that Deniz would step in to help her. However, the two guys hadn't agreed to be beaten up like that. Kailash and Ayhu realized from all this that Aysel and Samiha were indeed trying to bring Deniz and Sahar closer together. The officer ordered the release of Sahar and Deniz the next day. We returned to Deniz, who, despite everything that had happened, clearly seemed happy that things were starting to soften between him and Sahar. The next day, when they got out of jail, he offered to take her home. On the way, she heard a strange sound from the motorcycle and immediately felt terrified. Deniz started playing with her nerves and increased the speed even more, knowing she was scared, as if trying to prove she was a coward. She begged him to let her off. When she got off, she criticized how he treated her, telling him he was a stubborn person who takes advantage of others' weaknesses. She told him the truth, that she really was afraid of motorcycles. Not because she was weak, but because she had lost both her parents in a motorcycle accident. She said that if he had simply asked kindly why she was afraid, she would have told him, instead of him mocking her and driving recklessly just to scare her. Deniz was affected by what she said. He moved closer to her and kissed her. Then he told her he was amazed by her personality, how she could be a strong girl who fights off guys, breaks glass, and throws a man into the sea, and yet still be afraid of motorcycles or getting her hands dirty while eating fish. She replied that he was just like her. He treats her badly, mocks her, and then suddenly gets close and kisses her. He confessed to her that when he's around her, he doesn't realize what he's doing. Then he asked her if she had a boyfriend. She told him she wasn't seeing anyone. She then asked him why he cared so much about the helmet she had scratched and what memory it held for him. He told her it reminded him of her. He said he bought it the last summer he saw her when they were kids, right after she had promised to ride on his motorcycle with him. Sadly, he never got the chance to take her. Sahar smiled and said, "So, the scratch brought it back to me again." Meanwhile, we go back to Aysel and Samiha, who were telling Ayhu and Kalash about the real reason behind their plan to bring their grandchildren together. They admitted that they themselves had once been in love when they were young, but years had passed. At that moment, they saw Sahar and Denise arriving home, so they went to check on them. Kalash noticed how calm and happy they looked. It was obvious something had changed between them. Then Ayhu came in and started asking Sahar questions, but Sahar avoided answering her directly. Ayhu reminded her about the interview with Denise Tonali, saying she had to tell him the truth. Sahar told her that she would have to postpone the interview because now wasn't the right time to talk to him about all of that. She went into her room, smiling and happy to be back. Later, Denise was talking with Sahar and realized she was upset about work. Denise offered to take her out, and they went for a walk and spent time together. They seemed really happy, talking openly and warmly. They discussed why they had drifted apart. Deniz gently criticized her for gathering her friends and celebrating at the special place that used to mean so much to both of them, without even inviting him, despite knowing how he felt about her. Sahar told him that he had never confessed his feelings, nor given her any hint. Deniz responded that everyone around them knew how he felt about her. She was the only one who didn't notice. He thought maybe she was ignoring his feelings because she didn't want him. She told him that she was just like him when she was 15 years old. She tried in her own way to show him she liked him too, but her hints failed. After some emotional back and forth, they decided to forget the past and start their story from the beginning. He asked her why she never came back to the town the summer after that. She replied, because during the last summer she visited the city, she lost her parents in a motorcycle accident. She went through a very difficult time, alone and grieving. And when she finally started to recover and return to the city, he wasn't there. He explained that at that time, he had traveled with his family to Germany. 2 years later, his parents separated and each of them moved to a different country. He then took her to the coast, which she loved. He showed her a collection of rocks he had gathered for her from every country he had visited. He had been waiting to see her again so he could give them to her. Sahar finally understood. He had never forgotten her. They spent the whole night together by the sea until morning. The next day, when Sahar woke up, she went looking for Deniz and found him working on designing a house with a large garden. He told her that he was actually an architect by profession, but had never designed any house since graduating, except this one. He had been slowly working on it for years because it represented his dream home. He wanted to build a house just like it to live in with his future family after marriage. She asked him what made him decide to finally finish it now. He told her, because now is the right time to finish it. Sahar understood what he was implying. It was a hint toward her. They went out together, and she talked to him about his talent in photography. She asked him why he refused the award that had been offered to him, especially since it was meant for truly exceptional people, and anyone would be honored to receive it. He told her that his real reward was seeing that people were moved by his work and appreciated it. She was curious about why he kept his identity hidden, why he never let anyone know who he really was, even though everyone was so eager to hear his story of success. He told her that anyone who wanted to understand him could do so through the photos he presented, because every photo had a meaning behind it. Sahar was impressed by what he said. They were both happy, filled with love for each other, feeling that after so many years, they had finally found one another again. That night, Ayhu called Sahar urgently and told her she needed to meet her quickly. When Sahar arrived, she was surprised to learn that the photographer for the campaign had traveled away for another shoot. Sahar was certain that Karam was behind this, trying to sabotage her work. She was very angry. Kalash comforted her, assuring her that the campaign would finish on time. She then learned that Denise himself was going to be the one to shoot the campaign. She thanked him and told him he didn't have to help her if he didn't want to. But Denise was determined to solve her problem. However, he had some conditions. First, that they would not mention his name anywhere in the campaign. Also, the campaign team should only include the fashion designer, the makeup artist, and the lighting technician. Lastly, everyone had to sign a contract agreeing not to reveal his identity. Sahar hugged him happily. In a gentle tease, Denise asked her not to get too close to him on set because she distracted him and made him lose focus. The next day, the team gathered at the shooting location. Ayu asked Sahar if she had talked to Deniz about the interview. Sahar said she had canceled that idea and would submit her resignation instead because Deniz was the most important thing to her, and she didn't want to lose him. But Ayu attacked her, saying she was being selfish and that her resignation would leave the whole team unemployed. She asked Sahar what she thought she was doing. Was she fixing her relationship with Deniz just to get the interview? Sahar told her that everything had changed now, and Deniz was the only man she truly loved and that she would never use him just for her own benefit. At the same time, Karam, Sahar's competitor, heard from her team that she had found Deniz. He suspected that Sahar had gotten close to Deniz and given up her principles just to get the interview and the promotion. Karam confronted Sahar harshly. Then Deniz appeared and met Karam. Karam told Deniz that, despite his refusal to grant interviews to major global magazines, Sahar had managed to convince him to record an interview with her in order to secure a promotion. Sahar tried to explain what had happened and asked Deniz if they could talk alone to clear things up. But Deniz could tell from Karam's words and Sahar's tone that Karam was telling the truth. He asked Sahar if everything between them was just about the interview. She confessed that at first, she had thought about getting close to him to convince him, but over time she had changed her mind and decided to respect his decision. She also told him that she was the best person to tell everything about him because she knew him well. Deniz allowed her to take the photos she wanted from Kalash and left her alone. Sahar ran after him, but he didn't want to listen. He felt shocked and that he had lived a lie. He felt deceived by the one girl he had ever loved. Sahar traveled and returned home, remembering everything she had lived with Deniz and feeling sad that she had lost him. She went to Ahu's house and found her writing an interview with Deniz. Sahar told her that she must not give up on her team and that the promotion didn't matter to her anymore. At the same time, she felt that she needed to reveal the truth about Deniz and his story to the public because she had nothing left to lose after him. A few days later, we learned that Sahar's article was a great success. She got promoted and became the editor-in-chief, but she didn't feel the sweetness of success. She was still hurting from losing Deniz and spent much of her time with the rocks he had given her, feeling sad. Meanwhile, Kalash went to Deniz and told him that he needed to snap out of the state he was in. He explained that the article Sahar had written about him was amazing. Even though she never recorded an interview with him, she wrote about him perfectly, as if she was him. She revealed his true personality to the public, and everyone became curious about him. Kalash gave Deniz the magazine so he could read the article, believing that it would change his anger towards Sahar. When Deniz saw his picture on the magazine cover, he got excited and read the article. He was surprised that Sahar decided to keep his identity a secret and respect his privacy. She said she would keep his real identity to herself and wouldn't reveal his picture. What she did reveal was that Deniz was her childhood love, the boyfriend she had kept hidden in her heart since she was 15 years old. He was her entire past and her memories. She had been so busy with her life that she lost touch with those feelings until circumstances brought her to his exhibition. There, she found herself captivated by his work and drawn to it, not understanding why, until she realized that in every photo he took, she saw a glimpse of him. That was why she admired his work so much. Moved by the words in the article, Deniz confessed his love for her. Ayu then went to Sahar and tried to convince her that she had to attend the magazine's promotion party, which was being prepared. That night, Sahar did go to the dinner celebration. At that time, Denise and Kalash arrived, and Denise told her that this was his chance, the moment he had to respond to everything she said. He revealed that he had decided to disclose his identity because he realized she had kept him in her heart for years, and this was the right time to be with her. She asked him why he left her and gave up on her, why he never listened, and why he refused to believe that she truly loved him from the heart. He replied by asking if that could be considered a confession of her love for him. She told him that she had already confessed everything in the article she wrote, which had been the reason he came back to her. Denise embraced her in front of everyone, proud of his love for her. They left together and returned to their city of love to start their life anew and make up for everything they had missed. And so, my dear friends, our story finds its ending, not with goodbye, but with hope. A tale that began with distance, drifted through misunderstanding, and finally arrived at love once again. It's more than just a story. It's a gentle reminder to all of us. Sometimes life pulls us apart, but if the bond is real, the universe finds a way to bring hearts back together. So if you've ever lost love in the noise of life or the storm of circumstances, don't lose hope. Love that's true never truly fades. It just waits for the right moment and for the right heart to remember. Stay tuned for more soul-stirring stories that celebrate love, longing, and second chances. Until we meet again. If today's story touched your heart, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a new tale of love and life. Got a film you want me to break down? Drop its name and country in the comments. I'm always excited to hear your suggestions. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon with another heartwarming journey.